Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines and welcome to another episode of Wreckers or Checkers.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in. As usual, it's Travis, and it's Mr. Coors Lightyear himself. Danny,
What's
how you
going on,
doing?
everybody? Oh, not too bad, buddy. How are you?
Good. Not too bad. Just
Beautiful.
enjoying the week, you know. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. It's probably my favorite track of the year coming up here. So
I'd agree with that. It's definitely one of mine. I mean, it's hard to beat DEGA.
it is. I watched a little qualifying this morning for the Xfinity. That was nice.
Oh yeah.
Your boy was on the pole, I believe.
The Love Machine.
The Love Machine on the
looking
pole.
Good.
Speaking of the Love Machine, should we recap a little bit of what happened last week at Rockingham for the Xfinity race, since we didn't have a real race?
Yeah, we might as well. I mean, it boils down to Jesse Love Jr. ran away with the race, and they found something to DQ him for. I mean,
Yeah.
He had the best car all day long, and then in post-race tech, he failed inspection for something to do with his rear suspension. I haven't heard what that is. I haven't looked into it that far, but apparently Richard Childress is going to appeal it. Whether he wins or not, who knows? But Sammy Smith comes away with a gift wrap W because he wasn't the best car, but the best car didn't wreck.
I wasn't able to watch the whole race, but from what I did see, yeah, Love looked like he was dominating out there.
Very much so. I mean, even on restarts where he wasn't starting up front, he looked like Ryan Blaney has a lot of this year and just drove through the pack.
Just cutting through people. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. It was good to see. It was good to see that track looking good.
Right. 100%.
That's one thing I was looking at. I was like, it looks like a real NASCAR track again, you know? Yeah,
I mean, and like we shared some pictures, you know, with the grass growing out the shit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
10 years ago, it looked like a parking lot with an abandoned parking lot.
Yeah, no, it was bad. But, you know, it's going to happen. Something sits that long.
True that.
Yeah, it looked like they got everything up to snuff pretty well.
Very much so. I did notice it does seem like it's a littler, like, stadium-ish, you know? I mean, they're not really stadium, just like the seatings.
The grandstands and stuff.
Yeah, then a lot of because it's basically the same size as Las Vegas.
The track was. Yeah, 1.5 miles, right?
Yeah, I think it was like a 1.6 or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, a little over. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it would be suitable for the big boys even.
Agreed. I mean, a lot of these, like Dale Jr. even said this week, like he don't think it's a good idea for the Cup to race there because it being narrow, this, that, and the other. It's like if the youngsters can go out there and bang around it and not have a complete shit show, the big dog should be able to go out there and run around it.
Exactly.
It should be an exciting race.
And that's their whole claim to fame too, to being in the big ones, is that, you know, they don't get in those little scrums that the Xfinity drivers get in, right? They're professionals, right. You know. So they should be able to race it just fine.
100%. Hear us, NASCAR? Bring the Cup back to Rockingham.
Let's go back. Yeah, we might as well. All right. Well, we'll get one there, I bet. A year or two.
Sooner or later.
Yeah.
Sooner or later. Maybe they'll cancel out a couple of road courses for us. You know,
don't tempt me with a good time.
I mean, they're supposedly rebuilding Fontana, which has got to cancel the road course out at some point. So
yeah, that would be cool. All right, well let's get into Talladega then. I'm excited for this one. I pulled up some odds here. This is pre-qualifying, obviously. That'll be tomorrow morning for those of you live, but for those of you who aren't live and don't know when this was going. I did a similar thing. I got my lock this week. I got a couple of mid-range picks, and I got kind of a more long shot. However, we are not short track racing anymore, boys. Do you see these odds? You see these odds?
A lock at Talladega is kind of
exactly. But just wait. I cheated. So you ready for this?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
All right. My official lock of the week is going to be William Byron, top 3 finish at plus 350. Okay?
Yeah, it's not bad.
William Byron, average finish here of 7.7 in his last 6 races at DEGA. By far the best.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He races well here, but he's never had a win here.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. But I like the top 3 for the lock. It's still decent odds at plus 350. You feel like you make a little bit of money. But if you look, the best odds on the board here, plus 1,000, Ryan Blaney or Brad Keselowski.
That's a 3-win guy and a 6-win guy.
Exactly, yeah. You have, so I couldn't believe myself when I saw Brad Keselowski at the top of the list. I knew he was going to be, higher than normal, higher than he has been because he races well here, right?
Yeah, he's a good speedway racer.
But at the same time, like up there, plus 1,000 with Blaney, I was like, what does Vegas know here? You'll also see we got 3 Fords at the top of the list there with Blaney, Keselowski, and Logano. Yeah. 3 out of the top 4. But anyway.
Like I said, that all have wins here.
Yeah. So, lock of the week there. You can call me sheepish for going top 3 finish, but you know what? When the best odds on the board are plus 1,000, I'm going to consider that a more of a mid-range bet. So
and I don't hate it. Dude. I mean, when you got to contend with the big one, I mean, that's solid.
Yeah, you never know. And I feel like Byron is the type of guy who we've seen it how many times, he always puts himself in a decent position to take advantage of things like that. So, mid-range, I got 2 for you real quick. I like the straight up Blaney wins at 1,000 plus 1,000 odds. I feel like he's been able to show that if he's got the car, he can race anybody anywhere, right?
Yep.
And I feel like his, with his 3 wins, and he's got 3 top 3 finishes in the last 5 races, including 1 win in the last 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got an average finish here of 12.5.
Right, which is pretty dang good.
Really good, actually, yeah. I mean, and that's why, with Byron, 7.7 was insane. It was by far the best. I think Blaney might actually have the second best at 12.5 over the last 6 races for these drivers, yeah. And then here's another random one, plus 1,200, Eric Jones with the top 3. Interesting.
Yeah.
He has an average finish here of 14, and he's got 4 top 10s out of his last 6 races. So I thought this guy could definitely put himself in a position to be a top 3, and if you're getting plus 1,200 on that, decent chance.
Jonesy's a good super speedway racer. So
he
is. That's not. I don't hate that either.
He is. Or you go top 5 with Eric Jones, and you get plus 550.
Yeah,
not bad either.
I'd throw 20 at that.
Yeah. And then my long shot. Don't laugh for the homer pick here, but I got to go Chastain. He has won here before. I think it was in 2022. Spring race as well, though. Plus 2,500, though. I do like those odds. Average finish of 19.7. I just feel like go with who your heart desires on this race because everybody has like a fairly terrible chance to win this.
Right. Or brutally crash and
exactly
and burn, right?
So I like going for the aggressive drivers because if things work out for them, they make that one aggressive move that works out. Cool. But you're just as likely to see them not finish the race, right?
Very much so.
So
there's one in particular, long shot, that I really like this week, and call me crazy, but Wrecking Ricky Bobby Stenhouse.
Yes.
Won here last year. Granted, it was kind of on a wreck slash kind of weaseled his way into it.
Right.
Earlier race, fourth place. He's got 2 wins here. He runs good on super speedways. I think either for the win at like 2,800 or whatever he's at.
Yep, plus 28.
Or top 3 are going to be solid bets. If you're going to shake and bake it anywhere and live up to your name, Reckon Ricky, I mean, this is the place to do it. So I would dabble some with Ricky Stenhouse. I do also like Logano and Blaney this week, both pretty solid super speedways. But like I said, it's the crapshoot. You just got to not be in the right place at the right time, right?
Yeah. And I think so. Here's what I was thinking. Say you're gonna bet $60 on this race, or 600, whatever it is. But you take $10 units, right? I would probably put 3 units on a lock that you like, maybe a top 3 finish. I'm gonna say lock, but maybe something with top 3, top 5 finish. I'm gonna put 2 units on a straight up winner that I like, either Blaney or Logano's a good one too. And then I'm gonna put 1 unit on a long shot winner, like we talked about. Mine will be on Chastain. Mine will be on maybe Stenhouse too. I do like Stenhouse. He was actually, those were the 2 I was going back and forth with. But honestly, the reason I didn't go with Stenhouse is because he won here last fall, and I was like, what are the chances he backs it?
Right.
What are the chances he goes back to back?
Well, if half the field wreck's out in front of him, that increases his chances.
It really doesn't matter at all. But it just like in my brain, in my small pea brain, I'm trying to, find any little thing here.
Fair, very fair.
Suarez actually caught my attention too. He doesn't run terribly here.
4,000. Huh?
I know. I was looking at somebody down at the bottom of the list there, trying to find somebody, and Eric Jones and Suarez both have, ran decently well here.
Chris Buescher would be another one potentially. I don't see him on there, but I'm blind and I don't have my glasses on.
Yeah, I looked into his stats for the last 6 races, and it didn't blow me away because I was really diving deeper than this, and there was just nobody that really stood out as having any sort of any more of a shot than anybody else down there. I guess
there's no Kyle Larson at Bristol for this race.
No. There's no locks, and that's why I said, super speedways, my locks are probably going to be more the top 3, top 5, top finish.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so Talladega, you've been here.
Oh yeah,
you're going back.
Going back, one of the most exciting race experiences there is, and that's not just from my little experiences I've had, but just from what I've gathered as well. Like the miles and miles of tailgate partying that's going on in that place.
Yeah.
I didn't experience much of it, but it just looks like such a killer time. Yeah. I mean, it's red, white, and blue breathing NASCAR going on in Alabama during the week of DEGA.
Hell yeah.
It is a great place to visit if you have never been. I encourage everyone. You could dive into a little history if you want a little history on some DEGA.
I'd love to.
So DEGA is formerly known as the Alabama International Motor Speedway. It ran under that banner from 1969 when it opened to 1989. As most know, this is a 2.66 mile tri-oval. It's the monster NASCAR, biggest track in the circuit, right?
She's a beast.
She was built to be a little bit bigger than Daytona, which is kind of funny because, well, before I get into that, just to touch on some banking, in the corners we're looking at 33 degrees banking, 2 degrees in the straights, so even the straights are banked in this big bastard, and then you're 16.5 degrees in the tri-oval, so there's not a flat spot anywhere on that 2.5 mile track.
That's crazy.
So Talladega was, we need to thank our lucky stars we had to talk about it, because Talladega was almost the track that wasn't. like when they were going to build this racetrack, they weren't looking to build in Talladega, and they weren't looking to build as big of a track as they built. So in the early 60s, Bill France Sr. planned to build a 1.5 mile super speedway in Spartansburg, South Carolina. Being touted as Little Daytona was kind of the idea, right? It was
boring.
Right. So plans are brought and whatnot. Local residents took issue with it because they didn't want to deal with the noise. They already had an airport that was real loud, whatnot, And so basically the residents of Spartansburg killed the deal for this track at Spartansburg. And then Bill France Sr. had to find somewhere to build this racetrack.
Right.
He went two different places, and then they ended up landing at Talladega, and that's where they ended up breaking ground. With all the different issues that have happened there throughout the years, the big nasty wrecks, the tragedies, R.I.P. Davey Allison, and other drivers that have gotten injured severely, whatnot. There was a rumor going around for a long time that Talladega was built on an old Indian burial ground. And it is basically cursed, right?
Right.
That's why the big one happens every time,
Okay.
Which I kind of found some humor in that. Yet, I mean, it might not be far fetched, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
It really could be.
It probably is. It takes up like 180,000 square miles, right? Like the complex is huge.
Yeah, it's like Portland International Airport,
It's
same basic. But so yeah, like I said, we're very fortunate we get a rant and rave about this American glory of a track because it almost never happened. I mean, who knows? Maybe they would have eventually built something there.
Yeah.
Like it, but the fact that we almost missed it and we got it because people complained somewhere else.
Hey, if there's something we can always count on, it's somebody complaining. So
that's right.
Thank you, citizens of. Oh, wait, where was the town that it almost got made?
Spartansburg, South Carolina.
Thank you to the citizens of Spartansburg. So why didn't they make the jump from the 1.5 miles that they were originally thinking to Talladega at 2.6 or 2.7?
Well, it's 2.66. I think originally it was because of the land they had to work with in Spartansville.
Gotcha.
Because they had to keep in mind of
they were trying to compete with Daytona, but really all the land they had there was
right.
enough for 1.5 miles. So they're like, we'll call it the Little Daytona.
Right, and they're probably going to bank it real high and make you go real fast on it, which might have been real cool too, right? But, yeah. And also, just to touch on some past winners, I mean, they call Talladega Earnhardt country for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Dale Sr., all-time winner with 10 wins.
Jeez,
Jeff Gordon tied for second with 6 wins. He's tied with Dale Jr. and the only active driver with that many, Brad Keselowski, as we touched on earlier. Couple of other notables, both Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney have 3, and then there's a couple others with 2 or 1. But there has been a lot of really good Chevy run at this place, but it's also one of those places where then all of a sudden Fords stomp it out,
Yeah. They find something and share a little bit of inside knowledge, and for 2 or 3 races, they're the kings.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And like we're going to say throughout this whole episode, half of it's being lucky you weren't there,
Seriously. Yeah, well, that's one thing I remember when I first started watching NASCAR with I've watched NASCAR for a long time, but actually focusing on a driver that I liked, right? Picked a driver, this is my guy. I started watching and I'm like, I just remember looking and I was like, oh man, still in the back of the pack there, just kind of holding out. Yeah, turned out to be the right move, right? Because wreck happens and then all of a sudden he was able to get out of it and it's like, oh nice, okay, I see how this works now. And then it's like every time I watch this race, it's almost the exact same thing. Somebody gets lucky from the middle of the pack, back of the pack, and they just shoot through unscathed. And it's, you don't see anything but smoke for a while. And then all of a sudden you see the clean cars coming through.
Right.
Yeah.
that Days of Thunder vibe, driving through the smoke.
Yep, I love it. As long as nobody gets hurt or dies, I love it.
True that.
That's
you can smash it out of your car, but you just got to get out of it afterwards.
Yep. And there ain't much better either than seeing a wreck and then seeing that guy jump out and be like, "I'm good." You're like, "Okay,
right.
Cool. Now I can really appreciate how crazy that was."
Right. Yeah. Just as long as you see the window net drop, that's all that matters.
Yep, that's right. I remember Reddick. He had a bad one last year. Remember when he flipped up onto his hood? He rolled, I think, 3 or 4 times. I was trying to remember what track this was at. It might have been Daytona.
Maybe.
But
I know McDowell had a real bad one at the finish line, and Reddick won here when I was here last year.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right.
McDowell wrecked right out of turn 4, and it was a rough one.
Hey, Reddick's not a bad one either. I looked at him too. He's plus 1,600. I don't hate it either, but it's kind of I just feel like you could say that about all of these guys, right?
Right.
Larson, Hamlin, Reddick, Bell, Chase, they're all that plus 14, plus 16. Even Austin Cindric or Chase Briscoe,
Right.
Yeah.
Shit. Denny Hamlin's a hell of a super speedway racer. He's plus 14.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I feel like this is one of those races where like the whole field is your oyster for betting, right? Like just pick somebody, put a few units on it, and have fun. Pick a few guys, put 1, 2 here or there, and hopefully you 10x your money.
I'm really curious to see how much, if any, of this changes. I mean, of course, it'll change a little bit, but after qualifying, see if they shorten up odds for race winners. I'm thinking they don't, just because even Vegas knows like half these guys are going to crash.
Right.
We're going to rake it in over all these people betting that aren't going to have a driver at the end of the race.
That's the thing. I think you'll see the order shift a fair amount, and some guys will definitely jump up, some guys will definitely drop down, but I don't think you're going to see any heavy favorites. It's going to be this similar progression, of plus maybe somebody jumps to plus 600-700, like is the lowest I see it going.
Right. Which I think that might even be a stretch. I mean, 7 maybe. I can't see him getting much lower than that.
If Blaney comes out and has a car and he just looks on fire, I could see plus 7.
Yeah.
If he comes out and puts down a hell of a lap. That was one thing I was going to look at. Have you looked at the weather forecast?
I have not.
Because I know they were dealing with a little bit of potential weather during qualifying today for Xfinity. So I was kind of curious if we were going to see any potential weather delays. And
I hope not.
I hope not as well.
But at the same time, I mean, we went to this exact race when we went, and we were there on Sunday, and it started drizzling a little bit, but it's pretty humid and warm down there, so that shit dries pretty quick as long as it's not downpouring.
Right.
But it also takes a long time to dry if it does downpour.
Yeah, that's the thing when it's that humid. So it looks like we're actually looking pretty good, though. It looks like today was the worst of it. It's going to be 81, partly cloudy for tomorrow and Sunday. So
that's beautiful right there.
Yeah. 81's warm.
Yeah, especially with 100% humidity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be warm.
Does not sound like a great time, but, it doesn't sound horrible either.
Yeah, I mean, you go to Vegas in the fall and it's still 95 out there some years. So
right.
Or it's 60.
Yeah.
I feel like Vegas is one of those ones that can vary heavily, too, with temperature, but I'm sure with DEGA, they're just mostly hoping to keep it dry. The heat will be fine.
Yeah. Keep people somewhat sober.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Good luck.
right.
Good luck.
Gonna need it. But
Well, come back to the home screen here. I don't think we have a whole lot to discuss with standings this week, as nothing changed last week.
right. Yeah, should be pretty similar to last week's episode of standings, I would have to think.
Yep. So revert back to that if you're really curious. But yeah, there's no big movers yet anyway.
No. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see what happens after a couple of DNFs and lap shortened races for a handful of guys. You know, half of these top dogs wreck out this week, then that's going to change some stuff up.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And yeah, the board could shuffle pretty heavily after a DEGA race.
Definitely. And then we're on to Texas next week, which is another 1.5 miles. So back to the kind of the cream of the crop stuff.
Yep. Alrighty, everybody. I think we will leave you with that. Enjoy the race. It's going to be hopefully a good one. And get your bets in. Let me know how you did.
Stay blessed, everybody. Have a good Sunday.
Not financial advice.